I love Felix's avatar.
Oh yeah, that's great. A lot of levels there. Okay, let's see. We can go ahead and get started. Looks like we are at time. Big news today is that we've shipped another update to the extra FPS viewer. So that RC has been shipped out with the latest bug fixes. We are hopeful that that's the version that we're going to wind up promoting, and that we'll be able to promote it fairly soon. But as usual, you don't know these things until it happens. So we'll just have to kind of take it as it comes and see how it goes. Anyway, we're hopeful about it. Looking good. There's a lot of work in there already, and we are monitoring other bugs as they come in. Um, let's see. Other than that, it's likely that there will be some venue for fixes beyond that. There's some talk about maybe a hot fix release or something. TBD exactly how that's going to work, but there's quite a bit of other work going on that isn't urgent enough to get into extra FPS. General fixes, and also some I think promising work on avatar loading, trying to improve the performance of that, so we don't have so many people failing to res soon. And it's gonna try to be a little bit smarter about prioritizing these things. So instead of having a hundred half loaded avatars, you'll get smaller number that are fully loaded, and then sort of expand out from where you're standing. So that's all coming. Other than that, we have the Mate B and C work in develop right now, but the exact timing on when that's going to go out and in what release is still a bit TBD. We'll keep you posted on that one. Uh, Dave, do you want to talk a bit about the latest work that went out with extra FPS today?
Oh, what if I could keep it straight?
It's just too
There's
much, folks.
yeah, mostly it's Games was working on a checkbox for disabling HDR and emissive, which what that does under the hood is it'll lower the precision of the G buffer, so you'll get some of that banding back that we try to get rid of. But it does improve performance quite a bit on low end. And when you're in that mode, PBR emissive won't work. Um, we might later be able to turn that into two separate checkboxes so you can keep one or the other. Um, and along with that is a compatibility pass on legacy skies. So we're trying to make it so that skies that are in the library or that haven't been saved from a PBR viewer will look like they do in SL6. It's not ideal for an HDR pipe, but it's the least bad option. And after much work, that seems like it's working. But that last fix just went in. Actually, I haven't even clicked the button to merge it in yet, but it'll go in by end of the day. What's in the current RC is pretty close, but doesn't work for legacy skies that have bright sunlight. We missed a clamp. Yeah, the clamps. Gotta give them all the clamps. What else is in there? There's some work on texture streaming again. I don't think that's in the current RC, but would go into the next one or the point release, depending on how promotion goes out. And that one is pretty fun for places where you're memory constrained. It keeps you from redundantly loading textures over and over again, which was a fun bug. But yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing, going through and bug squashing and kind of just in maintenance mode for the end of year, so we can have a good, clean, optimized, bug-free, low crash rate viewer, bug-free, in the new year.
Yeah, we're hoping for a quiet holiday break.
I'm sure I forgot lots of things that have been going into this. Keynes, did you have anything to add?
It turns out to make PBR content look good with legacy skies, you just need a little bit of bad math. But no, I don't really have anything else to add.
All it takes is a good person with some bad math.
Did anybody have an answer to the LSET agent rock? I don't know if that requires viewer support.
It would be better. It would be good to have a catalogue of decent PBR compatible skies to show off the wonderful world of Second Life.
Yeah, if it requires viewer support, then there's a good chance that we haven't looked at that one yet, but no, not positive. We're not planning to have a meeting in 2 weeks. First meeting of the new year will be, I think it's the 16th. Yeah, we've got it flagged as the 16th. Oh, sorry, to clarify, the meeting that's canceled is the first one in January. We actually, as far as I know, we're going to have a meeting with whoever's around 2 weeks from now, but a lot of folks will be out, so it may be a kind of a skeleton crew. I should be around. Don't know about everybody else's vacation schedule. So yeah, meeting in 2 weeks, but no meeting on the 2nd. All right. I think that's it for actual announcements. Kyle, did I miss anything else that we should mention there?
No, I think you cut the list. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, other than that, we are open for the usual questions or discussion topics if people have things they want to bring up. Set your own priorities. Let's talk about that. It seems like normally you're gonna care about what's nearest the camera, won't you? When would people want to prioritize differently from that? Cam shopping. So you're thinking that you're moving the camera a lot, but what you care about primarily is what's near you, kind of on average. Is that the idea? Yeah. Okay. So if you're browsing with your camera, then you're gonna want to load the stuff that's close to the camera. Is that fair? Okay.
You mean loading objects or loading textures?
We're talking about loading avatars right now.
Okay.
The fixes for mesh loading to try to make it smarter and like what you'd want to prioritize. Avatar's not as important. Okay. Yeah, I mean, looking at the loading speed for other things is also a worthwhile topic, but the current work I think is all around loading meshes on avatars so that you get a nicer experience in crowded areas.
Yeah, the viewer has control over which meshes and textures it downloads first, but it doesn't have control over which objects get sent to it by the simulator first. If that makes any sense at all. Like when the simulator tells us about a prem, for example, it tells us which mesh is associated with that prem, and it tells us which textures are on that prem, but it doesn't send us the textures or the mesh. The viewer then decides when or if to fetch those things. I thought we already had a setting for name tag draw distance.
The repeats on PBR textures reset if you drop a new texture on, which is irritating a bit. Like if you're, changing textures regularly on a new item you've uploaded. Is there a reason for that?
Sorry, Cube, I was having a hard time hearing you. Could you repeat the question? Your mic sometimes comes through a little muffled. Texture repeats offsets fall off of objects if the PBR material is changed.
Oh, well, that's
That sounds like a bug.
annoying. Given how it works, I can see why that would happen, but okay, yeah, a canny on that would be great.
So I think it's generally overrides are failing. I think we do have an issue open for that. And I suspect it has something to do with distance from the servers. Because I've never been able to do it myself.
Do we have a bad net?
I'll dig up the canny.
Let's see, there's a question about the status of the Linux viewer. The Linux work is part of the work that's in that big bundle of pending stuff I mentioned, including mate B and C. I don't remember if B or C, but at this point it's all sort of mushed together anyway. So the release of that is probably going to be tied to the kind of disposition of all of that other stuff that we don't really know the timing on yet. But it's there. If you go looking for it in our GitHub actions, you can actually find Linux builds for some of the branches, but it's not anything that we're kind of officially distributing yet, and it's not in our main release.
Looks like we got a question from YouTube. C Calamity asks, can we have the ability to create new folders in the recent tab and have them appear?
I mean, the recent tab should get generated automatically based on what's been created recently. If you are you saying that if you make a new folder, it doesn't show up there? Empty folders don't show. Okay, so if you make a new folder and put something in it, then it'll show up. Okay.
Regular, and then add something to it for it to appear in recent. It's cumbersome.
Yeah. Okay. So what's the use case there? You want to make it easier to find new empty folders, so it's easier to dump stuff into them then?
Management is just impossible with the way it is currently. You have to make a new folder, say you want to put in stuff you've just created and things like that. You can't move things around easily. Or if somebody accidentally has a bad script in an unpacker and you want to just drag it into a folder, you can't just do it in recent. It all has to happen in the mess of regular inventory.
I see. So the problem really is that recent hides all empty folders, right? Not just sort of new ones that you make. that you kind of make in the current session. Yeah. That would make a good feature request if there isn't one already. But yeah, I can see that that would be handy for some folks.
Yeah. I am often surprised at how many people don't know about new inventory window, which helps a ton with that sort of thing. You click the little gear drop down, there's an option to open a new inventory window, so you can have multiple inventory
Control
windows
Shift
open at
I.
the same time. Yep.
Yeah,
It's
there's
like all
a
the
single
folks that don't.
folder view too, so you could have a
Yep.
separate window for your newly created folder and just go to town with that too.
Which is a newer feature and is like one of the best slippery features you added without it getting any praise, by the way. Because not only can you separate a folder, you can actually search within that folder. So it's brilliant, whoever made that.
Yeah, Steel Toe did a lot of work on the design for that, and I think we iterated a fair amount before it went out.
Request, if possible, two actually. The first one, when you're in edit mode, can you give us the select only my objects option to be there as a check mark? So that we can do it in the moment instead of realizing that we've just selected half of mainland and we have to go into build options, blah, 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 to check that box.
That seems like a completely reasonable request.
Yeah, and it would actually
which
help.
other feature you got to kick out? Because there's not much. You're talking about within the edit window, right?
Within the build menu, sorry, yeah.
The build.
Yeah.
The build.
Yeah, there's not much real
You mean the
estate left in that
loader?
window.
Do you mean the window for build?
Yeah, whatever you want to call that thing that pops up, sure.
Okay.
But yeah, because seriously, we go to it a lot in content creation, and then a lot of times you'll actually have people in group chat freaking out because things aren't working for them, and you go, have you got select only my objects selected? Right. And they're like, oh, don't, because it's hidden away and they forgot they did it 14 days ago.
Yeah, I'm always tearing off the build options menu so it's always on screen. That definitely cuts down on the mouse miles. But like Dan said, there's not a lot of room in the build floater itself to start throwing extra things in. When we make it bigger, people on smaller screens can't use it anymore.
Hey, but you added show reflection probes. So
yes, we did.
Can you not add
and we got yelled at for that because it went off the bottom on some screens.
Okay. Well,
yeah, apparently there's still a lot of laptops out there with pretty small screen resolutions.
Like if you do develop video and click 1280 by 720, then you can see that ambience and near clip like fall off the bottom.
Well, you could add it as a little arrow thing like you did with Snap.
Yeah.
So, a sub-menu section there. The other thing that I think is really important...
That would make a good feature request.
Yep.
Okay. The other really, really, really good one too is, I know you gave us the ability years ago to be able to determine where uploads would go to. Like, you actually made it possible to designate our folder. But if you designate that our folder, then everything that you upload goes to that folder. It would be really helpful if you would allow us to pick or add a new folder and sort of say, this is a folder I often like to add to, this is a folder I often like to add to. And then when you go into the upload mode, it actually gives you a drop down and lets you select the folder that you want that upload to go into. So that way you can actually make sure if you're on project 387 and you've made the folder for that project, you would designate all the items to that folder in that one-time upload. It wouldn't mean that it would send everything there forever on.
Question about Vulcan. We don't have a time frame for Vulcan. It's something that we've been talking about for a long time, and there would clearly be some advantages, but it's also a big project that would have to fit in the schedule. So it's all kind of to be determined. Let's see. Another question from YouTube. Nonsanity says, is there an option to turn off the dynamic current outfit folder in inventory? I'm not sure what that's referring to. Does this mean just not updating the display for the current outfit folder in inventory itself, or is it about the appearance tab? The wearing tab in appearance also shows what's in the current outfit. Okay, yeah, it sounds like they're making the distinction with the worn tab. Yeah, not that I know of.
It's actually not. It's not unnecessary. I actually ask new residents to go to the current outfit folder in inventory. Many times over many interactions, because it's a lot easier for them to go to inventory and find that than explain to them how to get to a wearing tab.
Yeah, I mean, I think the expectation most people have is that the inventory shows you what's currently in your inventory, so that would include the various dynamically updated stuff in your current outfit folder.
Can I just say, like, as far as Linden Lab wanting to control the amount of stuff that goes into your servers, I think the idea what Sassy had about like being able to allocate a folder upload is a really good idea. I would really love to be able to set like a project folder, and everything that I'm currently uploading goes to that, and then I can go through it afterwards and delete everything I don't want, rather than how it's organized right now, which doesn't lend itself to that really. And I mean, like in any package, you start with a file. You need a save location. So I think it would be really useful for Second Life.
I do too, because you can also even do it like you do upload everything else. And even if you haven't already made it in your inventory, you could actually create it on the go. No, that's the point. I mean, okay, it does, but it does it forever. And that's not how people upload projects. So if you forget to undo that, it means everything you upload. So for instance, I work for other stores. I have my own store. I blog. I do hair fair. In any given day, I could be uploading textures for one thing, mesh for another thing, blah, blah, blah. If I did it to an assigned folder, it would put everything in that one folder. But if you allowed me to assign the folders in the upload screen, I could assign them to the right places.
Okay, so you're talking about just having like an upload to option when you're uploading.
Right, in the upload
Yeah.
window.
Yeah, I could see that could be useful. If yeah, that would probably also make a good feature request. I should probably mention that our current focus isn't on new UI, and probably none of these things are going to happen immediately, regardless. But we do like to have a queue of future work as well that we can, when we do get some time, we can kind of switch over attention to it.
Okay, I'll make a canny for it.
Is my voice working?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was having trouble with the voice. I was asking about the current outfit folder. I missed if there was an answer.
There's a question about being able to turn off the dynamic current outfit folder in inventory, and as far as I know, there isn't currently.
Okay. Yeah, my point with that is if I have my inventory sorted by date, which I usually do, and I'm like double clicking a bunch of things to attach them, as soon as I attach the first one, that current outfit folder pops to the top and shifts everything down. I misclick, and this happens to me all the time. And just being able to get rid of that as an option.
Pops to the top where in under recent?
In the inventory, if it's sorted by date.
Oh, by date. Okay, so yeah.
Current outfit all of a sudden has been updated, so
Yeah.
it's up
Yeah.
everything else shifts down one, and I misclick. And it's
I didn't even know it moved.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No, I see what you mean. So it's showing you the most recently updated folders, and so since that gets updated frequently, it's going to kind of float to the top a lot.
Yeah.
So
Up there.
so you're not so much saying don't dynamically update the current outfit folder, but you're saying maybe don't
just have an option.
Don't move it when you're in the sort of sort by date mode or something like that.
Can I ask a question?
Just have an option to turn it off because we have the warn tab.
Or what do you mean by turn it off? Like just not show the current outfit folder, or not sort it by date?
It's the same as the warn tab.
Yeah, but
it's sort of the warn tab is kind of a simplified view of like most of what's in the current outfit folder, but if you really want to drill down, there are going to be some additional details there.
Can I just ask? Sorry, because I didn't know it moved ever. Do you have the check marks on in that gear thing that Dave was talking about before? I have mine sort by most recent, sort folders always by name, and sort system folders to top. I don't think I've ever seen current outfit move or anything move when I've been using that. Is it possible that you don't have something checked that sort of locks those in?
It could be the way that I have got it set up is different from yours.
Right. Yeah, because Jenny just said the same thing. Yeah, mine doesn't. I've never had that issue. I've never had anything move. So.
Well, are you sorting by date or you're sorting by name?
Well, mine's sort by most recent, sort folders always by name, and sort system folders to top. Do you have sort system folders to top checked?
I do.
Oh, okay.
I don't have folders always by name. That is not checked.
Okay, maybe try it and see if it helps.
Yeah, I mean that's one option. It'll change the way it behaves, but I know just having an option to turn off. I've never used the current outfit folder, so just a checkbox somewhere deep in the system that nobody even needs to know about. If there was one, I would use it. Put it that way.
Right. Like I said, with customer service and new residents, that current outfit folder has saved my life with helping people and helped them. So if it was off, as long as it wasn't default off, that would be okay.
Yeah, default, definitely keep it on. Just a power user request, as it were.
They're all power user requests.
Yeah. So I mean, this illustrates, I guess, both the value of having all of these sort of fiddly preference settings, and also kind of the problem with having all these different fiddly preference settings is that, even with people who are expert users, figuring out how to get them to give you the result you want is be pretty subtle.
Yeah, the folder's always by name. I don't like that. I like the folders popping up when they're newer as well. Except for that one. All right.
Well, that's what recent tab is for the date thing, in like changing it to have 20 days or the last 60 days even. That's how most people look at the newer stuff. But I get it. It's all just preference, but I just never seen mine move. That's why you just change it to the filter, Zumo.
It's really complicated, like Jenny, there's no getting away from that.
What's really complicated?
Changing outfits or bodies or anything to do with the avatar in Second Life. My wife plays other games like Avakin and stuff, and it's just like completely different. As far as like customizing your avatar, it's completely easy.
Yeah, you're you're right. We spend a lot of time trying to figure out how to
I'm not saying
simplify
I
it.
hate on Second Life. I love Second Life, and thanks for the upgrades. It looks amazing. It performs amazing for me at the moment. I'm having loads of fun with the graphics. But yeah, like I was watching a thing the other day with Philip Rosedale trying to get an avatar, and he couldn't figure it out. And I was thinking, well, if the CEO, the inventor of the company, can't figure it, then who can?
Yeah,
We've got a
yeah.
problem. So.
It's definitely harder than it should be.
Can I ask why that is? Because like, surely, surely we should be skinning like something universal. Like, shouldn't there be like
Yeah,
a universal like avatar that we skin onto, and like if I want to get like a Lelakuta head, that head has to fit onto this system and then that has a set of rules for like clove cutting and stuff and everything.
Well, we
yeah.
started with
Well,
that.
yeah, it started with a much simpler design, and then stuff kind of built up over time. There was a system
I think I know why
avatar
it was. It was
with
because of
rules
hands.
for wearables, and it all, I think it was pretty simple at that stage, but then you add attachments, and then attachments can be meshes, and you've got, you can have multiple things on the same attachment point, and so a lot of the complexity isn't just in the UI, it's like the system itself is complex, and so to actually expose all of that, you've got to have kind of fiddly UI to give you control over everything you need. Um, but yeah, basically, if something is complicated and it doesn't get better over time, it's usually because of legacy content. You can't, if you're introducing a new thing from scratch, you can make the rules really
Got like
simple,
what,
but
two
you want to
minutes?
avoid
You got
breaking
two
them
minutes to get a new customer in the mobile
apart.
app, haven't you? Before they throw the phone across the room and go, I'm going to try something else. Uninstall. That's the big reality of it, isn't it? That's the reality of the future. You want to go onto the mobile app, and then you've got
Yeah,
the system that nobody in the world can use. And my wife is, like in the other room on Avakin, playing dress up, winning prizes for taking a picture of her avatar in real time, getting currency, getting all sorts of things, having the time of her life. It's not complicated in any way, shape, or form. And that's you're up against these people. It doesn't. I mean, of course, PBR and nice looking worlds and retaining people matters, but at the end of the day, you have a very short period of time to get that person to then go on to more interesting places to visit, or nightclubbing, or spending money, or buying land. You've got,
Yeah,
you know,
and
I would say more than, I'd say less than 2 minutes, perhaps, 30 seconds maybe you've got to get in.
yeah, and if you make a new account, you'll see the join flow avatar, the join flow avatar editor on the web, which is much simplified. So it's clearly something that we're investing a lot of time into exploring, and we'll continue to do that.
It's not like that, but it can't be like so invested that we can't change our avatars, like to a system that I mean, and people love spending money and making new stuff. So, like to buy some new clothes for a new avatar, I wouldn't mind if it was more simple. Like nobody uses feet and hands from 5 years ago. It's going to change anyway. So
I mean, you don't want Linden Lab to say this is the standard avatar that everybody has to use. You don't want that.
I don't mean that. I mean like having some, like, I don't know, what would it be? I'll think of something. Well, what about just how do other places put on clothes? For example, how would you put on clothes in another rival system?
Not everybody's doing it better. I play Star Citizen and I take off a helmet and I die, but beside that, you put on a backpack and it doesn't appear, and so then your gun's not there because it's in some imaginary backpack, and the lifts kill you. If you don't stand back and it's just a black hole, you die. So seriously, they have been in beta for 12 years or something. Second Life's doing really well.
Yeah, there.
Yeah,
Well,
and
you'll
to
never
draw
die
some-
no matter how messed up your avatar gets.
Yeah, and just
but
draw
that's
some
like-
comparison to Cube's question, like how other platforms do this. It's, do you know Blender? Do you know Unity? That's how other platforms do it for the most part, with some limited
I
exceptions.
mean, like the loads of different bodies and head joining and all that, when you should just be able to put a T-shirt on no matter who made the body. That's what I mean. Fundamentally, at the end of the
Like
day,
Blue
you should just be able
Mars
to
had.
put a pair of trousers on. So how do other games cope with like skinning their avatars so anybody can make a shirt?
Yeah, and that's that. Now you're touching on like dev kits, and that's a whole can of worms.
They do that with Marvelous Designer and Sansar. They implemented that, but we can't just implement that system into what we have. I mean, look at how many people chuck a wobbly because of, you putting an extra line in the edit menu. How's it going to go? You turn around and say, by the way, your whole inventory is redundant because we're going to give you a lattice modifier.
Yeah.
I think that's happened with PBR though, Scott, Sassy. That it happens with everything, really. I think supportive legacy content can only go so far, can't it? Really,
Well,
because like,
yeah, we absolutely have to support legacy content. Because I mean, if we could successfully add support for these things without breaking other things, or taking resources away from supporting new residents, and all that. That's a different world than the world we're living in, where we try to add PBR and we hurt performance on low end. We change the look of things, in ways that break content that we didn't anticipate. So with we'll take the Marvelous Designer example. Marvelous Designer clothes are very highly tessellated, and in order for them to work the way they did, and Sanzar required a single body that we had a very carefully hand-tuned auto scanner for, and a hidden surface removal system, and unique meshes generated every single time you changed your outfit. it doesn't like there are solvable problems there, but SL the way the SL data system is architected, it just doesn't, that sort of thing doesn't scale very well.
Problem with the new user experience, though, is not just the fact that there are other bodies out there. They come in with Senra now, but what actually is the big failing that is causing more confusion is that you still have all those old library outfits as clickable buttons. So they end up coming in Senra, they click a button and see some soldier or some disco dude or whatever. They click it, then they're suddenly in that, which is the SL default, or they end up in the really, really bad pre-mesh werewolves or whatever, or things you can't buy clothes for at all, and it's just too confusing. And all those pieces are put in place by LL, and they need to be removed.
Yeah, I honestly have no idea why the complete avatars button is still there. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it's really hard. I mean, I watched them, they land, and I mean, they're buttons with pictures, so that's the attractive pull. But nobody's taken Senra pictures. Why are there not complete look Senra avatars there? I know people have a problem with Senra, that's neither here nor there, but what happens is, like I said, they get distracted by that, they press it to see what happens, and then they have no knowledge how to get back to Senra. So yeah, they're in
I
a
thought
mess.
the center content does have thumbnails, doesn't it? Or are you saying we don't have
No,
outfits?
she's
Not in the
talking about
viewer.
when you click the complete avatars button, the first button on the top of the
Outfit.
left menu.
That outfit display.
Oh, the complete avatars is all like old avatars that aren't center based at
But
all.
it's still there, and
Yeah,
nobody's
Right.
updated it with Senra,
yeah,
and that's just
you're
crazy.
right. It's on it's on the list, but yeah, you're right. It's
And
very out of
And
date.
at the Welcome Hub, I don't know who set up the Senra marketplace at the Welcome Hub, but when you click it, because it's all enticing, here, new skirt, new shoes, new outfit, like these parts, that's great. Again, it's a great idea, but when you click them, individual pieces go to the objects folder. They don't even give you a folder. It's not teaching you anything. So all of this overload of misdirection is causing the problems. And we talked about that yesterday at Web User as well, the what next and the support portal, having 11-year-old videos. It's just, we're killing new users. It's not fair.
Yeah, it's quiet. I don't think we have anybody speaking, except me.
I've never felt the need to do the third party thing because I'm a power user. But I'm yeah. I think that the wardrobes are for prior to all the new conveniences that we have now with the viewers.
Oh, here's a side question about dressing avatars, which comes up sometimes. How big a problem is it that you can't? It's not easy to sort of change your appearance privately. Would a lot of people care if there was sort of like a, I don't know, kind of a private changing room experience where you're not visible until you're done making changes, or is that something that people just
We
kind
asked
of
for that.
accept and they're used to?
We did
That'd be
ask for
so
that
cool.
before.
Oh
Like
yeah,
a,
I mean it's on the
And
list
you
of
know what?
possible.
If you
Curious
could
how.
customize it as well, so brands could provide their own, that would be awesome.
we did talk about that in the meetings like about a year or so ago. We talked about the idea that you'd be instanced. So then Valeth turned around and said it'd be cool if you could actually res stuff on the ground in it and everything like that, unpack, so you could be at some crowded nightclub, but you'd be really instanced in your own little studio doing stuff while everybody thinks you're just dancing on the dance floor.
Yeah, I mean, there's different ways you could get that effect, but I'm just curious how. I guess the question is really is how much do people care?
Yeah,
You
do
know,
it.
it seems like for a new user, it might be a little off-putting to be, kind of ripping your clothes off in public, but it may be that most people are just kind of used to it. I don't know.
No, we have change rooms at the Welcome Hub. We have
Yeah.
change room platforms that you click on it and you get sent up to a private change room that nobody can go into except you. And then there are special ones that the mentors can actually go into as well. They really do want that. It's just that you have to kind of find them. So the ability to, when you go into appearance mode, just like you make it that nobody can see the changes you're making to the shape while you're in appearance mode, if it meant that they couldn't see you naked, that would be a big win.
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, all the other viewers have it, so holding out indefinitely is not doesn't really make sense. So we are planning to add ROV support, but that involves getting a fairly extensive contribution of the code. So that's just in process right now. We don't know exactly when that's all going to be ready, but at some point, that's the plan that we'll have ROV support.
Hasn't really gone by restrained love viewer for years though, Zipper. But yeah, some people freak out. They think you can lock them in a box.
What's the alternative?
Well, RLV is the alternative, but it was originally restrained love viewer.
Oh yeah, I was wondering if there were alternative words for the acronym.
Right, yeah, exactly. They have a preconceived notion of what it is, not what it can do.
Might need a
Yeah,
name change.
but I agree. A rebranding of that would be good before being like, oh yeah, just go turn on RLV. What's RLV stand for? Don't worry about it.
The one thing I've done for outfits in the currently with a different account, where I've got hundreds of them, is all the body parts and stuff that doesn't change is all links. So when I change outfits, those don't unload and reload. And then I just do an add of the new outfit, so it adds more layers of clothing on. Once that can see that that's there, I do the replace with the new outfit, which gets rid of everything else that's not part of the new outfit. It's the only way that I've done so I'm not naked for a while. But yeah, making it so that the avatar, when you start one of these, somehow when you start this process that it sort of freezes updates for everybody else until it's done and then releases. But how that would work, might be a little complicated. User interface wise, that is.
Yeah, like a re-clouding when you change outfits.
Or not so much a cloud, because that would be disruptive, but just a freeze your appearance to everybody else button, maybe. Then you can change your outfits as much as you want till you get it the way you want, and then unfreeze, and then it updates for everybody.
Oh, kind of how animations don't run for people until they're loaded, so you'd be kind of like your outfit's not loaded until you press done. Pretty cool idea.
If it was a user-controlled button, you'd have to make sure that they know that they're frozen for everybody, because they wouldn't be seeing it. There'd need to be some visual, very obvious display on the screen to let them know that you are not updating for everybody else while you're making your changes.
That's kind of why the visual was sort of a needed idea too, like something would appear around you so you knew and didn't get accidentally stuck in that mode and thought you were just appearing normally to everybody.
Yeah, and I'm thinking through implementation details, and the only way I could see it conceivably being implemented is we reclouded you during an outfit change. Because the viewer will know. I mean, you could do a better implementation than that, but it would be so fragile and expensive.
What about, since we have the cardboard cutouts when you start reducing avatar, the number of visible avatars, what if you could set your own cardboard cutout as a replacement for the cloud that everybody can see?
I'd like that anyway, because I hate the clouds. They're
Yeah, the clouds are expensive to render.
They're expensive to render, which is kind of defeats the purpose a lot of the time.
It would be very cool. Do you remember when Mesh went live and nobody knew what the pyramid meant? So everybody thought everybody was being griefed because hundreds and hundreds of pyramids would appear on regions that were already Mesh ready. It'd be very cool if you turned into something, but we actually got to choose what the something was. Like you could choose your own avatar picture or your profile picture or something, so that just became what you were while you changed.
Yeah, either a set thing that you choose, like a profile picture,
right,
or just do the same code that's used to create the flats when you reduce everybody, that creates a new flat of what you're currently looking like. A cardboard cutout of yourself as you were when you start changing outfits, and it just stays that way until you're done, and then it.
Yeah, I mean, we have the imposter system already, so we basically generate those cardboard cutouts on the fly in some circumstances. So you'd probably leverage those. I think there's a lot of ways we could potentially handle it, but it would involve viewer and also server work to avoid sending out appearance updates, to everybody before for that to happen.
And thinking about
imposters, to work correctly on all the old viewers would be trickier too.
Yeah, thinking about imposters, it would be possible for the viewer to grab an imposter snapshot if you got reclouded, and that would be your stand-in until your outfit was done. That would be
even just profile would be cool.
Fragile.
And it might actually make people use proper profile pictures instead of pornography.
But I don't know when we'd prioritize such a thing on top of everything else that got asked for this meeting and everything else that got asked for in the last year.
It's a problem, isn't it?
Getting it all out of our system until 2025 hits.
That's right. You gotta get your gift requests into Santa as soon as
Christmas is coming, and we are at time. So we're gonna wrap it here.
Yeah. Thanks for coming by, everybody. It's been a good discussion this week, and Some of us will see some of you in 2 weeks, and then it'll be quiet for a bit.
Yep.
The stick figure idea with the box head.
Have a Merry Christmas, everybody, and I'll see y'all next year.